So, Dee Dee, exactly what does go on in the Pujols family kitchen?
Well, my kitchen is like the heartbeat of my home. I mean, that is where I cook. That is where my kids come together and chase each other around the island. I mean, it's where we gather, and it's such a main focus of the home where we just can come together and be a family.
When did you develop this love you have for cooking?
I've always cooked growing up. You know, I was raised with two of my great-grandmothers who were always in the kitchen cooking. They're Mexican, so Mexican food is what I learned how to cook first. But it wasn't until about 10 years ago when there was a young boy I had met who I thought I'd really want to keep. So I had to learn how to cook his kind of food so he'd stay around.
How did you actually learn to cook Dominican style?
Well, you know, the first time that I walked into Albert's condo where he lived in Independence, Missouri, you could smell the food all the way out in the parking lot. I mean, you're immediately attracted to the kitchen because that's where the smells are coming from. And, you know, that's where I met his grandmother, ironically, who raised him, America Pujols. She is a gem. And every time I'd walk into her kitchen, she would have these huge pots, ones I'd never seen before, and they were just, you know, full of food. And after a while, I was, you know, just would watch her out of interest, and I realized that she was making there was only a couple of people that lived in the home at the time, and she would make such big portions. And after just observing and asking Albert what was she doing with the masses of food when there was only a couple of people in the home, and basically it was because she was feeding everybody that came in her house. So she had several kids that lived in the neighborhood. They were adults, they were grown, but they would come over for lunch and see her, and she'd feed everybody. And I just loved that. I thought that was just, you know, such a great thing. And after a while, I just took an interest in learning what it was. And it all started for me with his family members, and eventually, you know, meeting other Latin women, not just Dominican women, but from all different countries, and just having a hunger and a thirst to keep learning more and more about their foods.
The Pujols family kitchen sounds a lot like America's kitchen was. You just love having people all around you like she did, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've learned about Dominican culture is just how much they love their families and their culture and being together as a group. You know, growing up in poverty, a lot of what you have is conversation. You might not have electricity or a TV or things like that, but at least you have one another. And so, for instance, nowadays when I'm cooking in my kitchen, if somebody doesn't come to my home, but maybe they're in town, say another baseball team, and have a lot of, if they have a lot of Latin players or Dominican players, for instance, I know that what they're going to love is their own home-cooked dishes. I mean, that just blesses me. I love to know that I can make their food something that they're used to eating back home that they would get from their families, their moms or their wives, and I can do that for them here.
You and Albert have been back to the Dominican Republic many times, and we'll see that in other segments. What is it about those experiences that really has inspired your cooking?
One of my favorite things in life is to go to the Dominican Republic and be with those people. At first, I would just visit with Albert, you know, visit family members, hang out at the baseball field while he practices, and those kind of things. But eventually, my heart just got so heavy for the people who are out in the communities that are really desolate, very poor. My passion has just gotten, you know, more and more for those people. I love to go into the communities and go into, like, let's say somebody's small home and look what they're cooking on. And it just amazes me how they can invent things. For instance, taking a big coffee can and cutting the top and the bottom off, and, you know, you see a few pieces of coal on fire underneath, and this caldero, like the ones I use here in my house, on top with maybe a couple of pieces of fish that they're boiling to feed their kids for lunch. So I'm just like amazed with all the things that we have here and how blessed we are in our country to have the things that we have, and to be as privileged as we are to go back there when really it almost feels like I'm going back to the past, and how maybe people used to do it before all of the gadgets got better here. So I think that's just become a love of mine, to be able to go and experience, you know, those cooking techniques and the ingredients that they use, and where do they come from, and how do they get them, how do they invent the recipes that they come up with.
For all the baseball fans out there, you know this is what they're dying to find out. What is Albert's favorite dish?
I think Albert's, I don't know. Babe, what's your favorite dish?
No. Let's do this is like the newlywed game. You say what it is, then when we get him in the shot tomorrow, he'll tell you.
Oh, okay. Don't tell me then. I think that one of the things that he enjoys the most is my home run chicken, which I've been, kind of known for, which is pollo guisado. It's really a chicken just made with love and all yummy, and it's served with rice and beans. Typically, they call that la bandera. It's like the flag, that means the flag in Spanish, and it really is kind of a staple in their cuisine. It's chicken, rice, and beans. So I think that's his favorite. But we'll find out when we ask him ourselves.